and welcome. This is ISE Let's Talk Telecom. I'm Joe Gillard, editor of ISE Magazine, and today I'm here with Gary Bolton, President and CEO of the Fiber Broadband Association, and he is here to talk about a survey just released that should be very relevant to all of you service providers out there and people in the fiber industry. So, Gary, welcome. Thank you.
Joe, great to be here. Another exciting year for us. 2024 was the biggest year in Fiber Broadband Association's history, and 2025 is already been pretty exciting. So,
for sure,
no shortage of things going on.
I'm glad to hear that. Well, tell me about this survey that was just released, and how many years have you been doing it, and what's the purpose of it?
Yeah, so since the association started, we're back in the early 2000s. We have been using one of our strategic partners, Mike Render, our VA, is one of our top researchers. And they've been doing the study for, well over 20 years, since kind of the beginning, to track where we are. And it's really critical just, because like last 18 months has been really challenging to know, because it feels like a lot of fiber is being deployed, but yet on the supply side of our membership. So about half our members are on the supply side, and about 51% are internet service providers. And what's happened is we had a big run up before COVID on, just stockpiling inventories. And then once everything settled down, service providers, realized they were sitting on all this inventory. And so they started working down their inventory. And so that really kind of, was a soft on the supply side for the last 18 months as this inventory, started being worked down. So we've been tracking that and doing surveys, and right now we're seeing that inventory levels are normalized. But what's super exciting is that in 2024, we actually passed 10.3 million homes with fiber. And to put that in perspective, there's about 130 million primary residents and another 10 million secondary homes, so 140 million homes. Mm-hmm. And so now that we are, we have fiber deployed to about 76.5 million unique homes, which is, and then, total passings, we're at 88 million homes. So we are over halfway on connecting unique homes to get to our, kind of goal of getting every American connected with fiber.
Wow, that's robust. I think we're getting there. And so fiber, has been around for a while. It's 2025. A lot of people are connected to broadband. So with fiber in particular, Gary, why are we seeing new records in fiber broadband right now?
Well, it's really interesting in that, kind of coming out of COVID or going into COVID, everybody had to start working from home and school from home. And just, that was kind of the tipping point where no one was asking why fiber anymore. It was, hey, this is no longer for entertainment. This is a necessity. Everybody needs to be connected. And what's really exciting is, so we've been working on, this. So one of the big programs that came out with the IIJA, the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, back over 3 years ago, was, this $42.45 billion of BEAD funding. And so the first state that's, got everything approved was Louisiana. And so 96% of their locations are committed to fiber by fiber providers. And so I can tell you, we knew that Louisiana was going to be first. So we were down there with one of our regional Fiber Connect workshops, 3.5 years ago, meeting with Vineeth and team, and, visiting like Northeast Louisiana. Their entire parishes did not participate in the internet at all. And now that they have a commitment to fiber in Northeast Louisiana, Meta's committed to put in an AI data center in North. So you can see the impact already as these commitments are going, is that these areas that have been kind of, a ghost town from any kind of connectivity or economic development, as soon as you get fiber in, I mean, we love to cite Chattanooga, Tennessee, which was the first gigabit city in the world, mm-hmm. And here, just this little corner of Tennessee now, they had to put in a fish tank and they put in fiber, and all of a sudden, they're the talk of the world. And that our studies showed that by putting fiber in, they were able to connect every member of their community, and they were able to grow, had a $2.7 billion economic impact to the community, 9,500 direct jobs, and they're able to use this fiber for smart grid modernization, which helped to prevent major weather events, then also for public safety, and also you're able to use it for your cell phones because now you have the fiber infrastructure so that you can be able to have much more capacity because anything that goes over your cell phone, 80% of that traffic goes over the fixed network, jumps off on your Wi-Fi and so forth. So it's just been game changing for so many communities to be able to get fiber, and now we're on the cusp of that. The other thing is our study looks at is, who are is delivering this fiber, and so kind of in the beginning, we saw it was FiOS, right? It was Verizon that was putting these big investment into FiOS, and then we saw AT&T come on when they had the DirecTV merger. They had committed to 12.5 million homes passed. Well, kind of one of the most exciting things I've seen in the last couple of months is right after the election, when President Trump won the election, John Stankey and AT&T came out with their commitment to get to 50 million homes passed by the end of 2029, which is huge because AT&T is using private investment, and they were able to demonstrate that, or be able to explain to the market that by investing in fiber, that they're able to significantly advance their business case. They're able to improve their OPEX. They're able to get to zero carbon footprint, and they're able to have a better ARPU because they're able to attach more services like wireless services and others. So this is just a huge investment. So between, getting the 29 million homes they've already passed, the commitment to get to more homes, plus being able to leverage their joint venture with BlackRock. So that was kind of the beginning, but, so of the tier ones, it's, last year it was about 63.8% of the fiber deployed was by the big guys. But the rest, the other, almost 40% was from smaller players. So, obviously the tier twos, then tier threes, so the former ILECs, another 11%. But cable is almost as much. So cable has been bleeding subscribers like crazy from fiber competition. And so they're upping their game to really be able to, have to shore up their competitive, they've have dominant market share, and so they don't want to lose all their market share. So they've been, right up the top. 10% of the deployment last year was from the cable companies. And then you see, other providers like rural electric co-ops is probably the fastest growing segment. There's 950 electric co-ops, and you can imagine for every reason that, they're there to serve their community with electricity, broadband's important, and then municipalities and so forth. So we have a real broad participation. And then you asked a lot of in your question there, Joe, but you asked about market consolidation. So we're starting to see some, like, we saw, Frontier and Verizon, and we've seen some of the Canadians are starting to jump in because in Canada, the CRTC implemented a new rule where you have to unbundle fiber to allow your competitors to use your fiber network, and that didn't sit so well. And so they've started investing in U.S. companies because, this is a very ripe market for fiber. But we have about 1,400 ISPs deploying fiber right now. And so I would say by the end of the decade, we'll see a huge market consolidation. Right now, we'll probably see more operators being created as, we're kind of at the early stages of a huge fiber investment cycle. And then as we start to get these networks deployed and, they're get to, created value, then we'll start to see, operators say, well, how can we best, what are the contingent areas, what makes the most sense to be able to aggregate and be able to, create more value. But the one thing for sure the market is saying is fiber is very accretive. So those companies investing in fiber are getting a huge return on their investment.
Yes, it seems that way. So we've got this excitement, we've got this push, we've got this investment. So now what's going to stand in the way from getting these people that are aware of fiber to the home, that want it, what's standing in the way of getting those people connected now?
Well, we have a lot going on. So in the short term, we're here on February 3rd, 2025, and the new administration, new Congress is just all getting going. And we're seeing, a lot of executive orders. We're seeing a lot of tariffs, a lot of activity going in the market. And so that's creating some near-term uncertainty and confusion. We have Mr. Howard Lutnick is going to be confirmed here in the next couple of weeks to be the new Secretary of Commerce, and we have to put a new head of NTIA in place. And so it's a little bit pencils down right now for the whole, infrastructure investment from the government side. But the good news is that there's a high focus from the new administration to get rid of a lot of red tape, a lot of the compliance, and there's a lot of restrictions and things that they're going to do to streamline. They're also going to put a lot of focus on permitting. On our survey, it said permitting is the top on big issues of how do we streamline permitting and make it quicker. There's a lot of concern. 15% of our respondents worried about the BEAD rules, the NTI rules and regulations. So that's going to be streamlined by the new administration. The better mapping in inaccurate locations, that's an FCC. They're responsible for the maps. And then concerned about overbuilding versus federal money, which is kind of interesting in that we're starting to see now overbuilding by LEO satellites as Amazon comes on and so forth. But the other part of this is labor. Labor is key. So our other studies have shown that labor counts for between 66 to 73% of the cost of construction of a fiber to the home network. And so we don't have all the fiber optic technicians, and we have to get people trained. And so, like for instance, we need 77,000 more fiber optic technicians. So we're moving our optic path fiber optic training to all 56 states and territories to try to really ramp up that. So there's a lot going on. So I'd say it's a little bit murky in the near term, but in the long term, we're going to see a lot of streamlining, a lot of focus on more on deployment and less on non-deployment programs. So I think the efficiency, the one thing have heard, I spent the last 2 weeks in DC meeting with everybody, and there's a high commitment to, both sides of the aisle to broadband deployment. So everybody wants to get this broadband out. They know that the economic benefit, they know all Americans need it. And it's just, how can we do it quicker, more efficient, and not tie it into some other, other programs that aren't really focused on deployment.
Well put. Yes. Broadband does tend to be a bipartisan effort. And so I want to ask a little bit about the kind of the fun futuristic side of it. What are the trends and technology that is, going to be potentially rolled out very rapidly in the next few years? Or even if not, and how will fiber play a role in some of those things?
Well, I mean, so first of all, we have fiber to the home, so that's taking off. And as I said, we're a little bit over half the country connected. We did have a recent study done by the former chief economist at FCC, part of Brattle Group, and it basically said that we're going to have tens of billions of dollars of economic impact when fiber is deployed versus other high speed technologies like cable. And the impact comes half from home values improvements, and the other half is increase in wages when you're able to have access to a broader scope of jobs and so forth, and education. So that's great. But the other thing, if you went to CES or everything, AI has been going crazy. So that's a big market discontinuity. And so we're seeing mass amounts of fiber to the data center. We're also, as I mentioned, the more fiber you get out there, that's better for your wireless services. So fiber to the tower. We're also seeing, fiber to the area. So as we build out, we're getting more middle mile access. So again, and then smart grid modernization, so fiber to the grid. I was just with my friends from around the globe, on our weekly call with our our Global Fiber Council Alliance. And we're going to be in Dubai, and that's fiber to the room, fiber to the yacht, and it's big. Now, Chattanooga, about 4 weeks ago, they announced they have the world's first commercial quantum network, and they just sent the first entangled encrypted quantum message across fiber in their network. Wow. And so we're going to see fiber to the qubit. And then as we get more EVs going, we're going to see fiber to the vehicle controller. And then, one of our other sister associations is fiber optic sensing. And so being able to have fiber to the sensor, so you'll be able to leverage fiber to be able to detect pipeline leaks or any kind of, we talked about protective orders. You can use fiber to, you can deter with fiber in the ground. You can look at the sensitivity from anywhere from a deer to a person, or it's just amazing on the capabilities of fiber optic sensing. So there's just no end of the applications of fiber. It just kind of opens a whole new world.
Excellent. Fiber to the universe.
That's it.
So can you let the viewers know where they can maybe find the survey or find the Fiber Broadband Association if they want to get involved or anything like that?
Yeah. So what's exciting is that we have about 600 member companies, and of those companies, 1,080 people in those companies serve on our committees. We have about 20 different working groups and committees, so we have a high level of participation. So if you go to fiberbroadband.org, you'll see our website, and you'll be able to go to resources and see our studies. Some of these are behind the firewall, so if you're not a member, but you can always reach out to me, G. Bolton at fiberbroadband.org, and happy to talk to you guys about fiber deployment and applications and where things are. Also, make sure you get connected with the right people in our organization.
Excellent. Well, Gary, that is it for today. I really appreciate you going through the survey. Sounds like there's a lot to be excited about, and so I look forward to seeing where this goes.
Well, it's probably the most exciting time that we've ever had in our industry. Things change on a daily basis, but the one thing that is constant is people want to be connected and really want to elevate the quality of life for generations to come.
Thanks, Gary. Thanks for your time, and hopefully we'll see you next time.
All right, Joe. Appreciate it.